Hey, good morning, everybody. Kevin and Chris here. We got a really special guest, Kyle Mallien, today. He is the foremost expert in buying businesses. You guys, so many people ask me about buying businesses. Kyle is doing an event in Nashville, August 5th through August 7th. I've been to his Vegas event. I took his course. It's phenomenal. I'm making so much money off all these little techniques he did. And he's going to talk to us today about kind of the state of buying businesses, and then his event and some of his students that I met there and that they're doing deals as well. Kyle, glad to have you on.
Thanks, gentlemen. Super excited to be here. And, we were just riffing a little bit, talking about how this all kind of came together. And I'm super honored to be here and share some of the backstory here with you guys. So thanks for having me on.
Definitely. Kyle, talk to us about like kind of why you saw this niche. It's not really a niche, but why are you buying businesses as opposed to starting them?
Yep, 100%. I will say that first off, I love blue collar millionaire and everything that you guys are doing with this, because that's me, right? That's where I started. I'm a son of a third generation bricklayer. Was supposed to be a concrete mason in a small town of 10,000 people in rural Wisconsin. I just so happened to find the mortgage business, but I grew up super poor in a rural community where drinking and sports was life, and didn't know any better. Just construction background in a tourist area. That was my lot in life. I ended up at a community college, at 18, 19 years old, and found the mortgage business, got into finance, got into, 2001 to 2007, we rode that finance train all the way until the first recession, right? If anybody here lived through 07, 08, we're about to experience some rocky times ahead of us with the same type of terrain. And so if you live through that, you're going to be well equipped for this next one that's coming up. But that's really how I got my back start, was in finance. But CD student, barely graduated high school. My dad passed away when I was 16 years old, went through a lot of trouble and strife as a young guy. Didn't know my way around at all, barely got accepted to community college, but was fortunate enough to find the finance business and a call center. Started out just hustling, doing the phone sales. Went from a junior loan officer to a loan officer to a senior loan officer to running my own shop at 21, 22 with a bunch of employees. Ran that up until 07, 08, and the Grim Reaper took everything away: houses, cars, dignity, rental properties, everything that goes with that. And, it was at that time that I was able to kind of reinvent myself. I said, look, the housing market stings. This sucks. This hurts. How do I reinvent myself? I started to surround myself with masterminds, groups, folks like you guys that I could learn these new ideas without trying to reinvent the wheel. And so I just want to take a moment and let everybody know that, like, if you're in this room, you're in the room for the right reasons. And that these people here, you're literally one connection, one relationship, one business, one idea away from a completely different life. And by investing in yourself, even free things, free groups like this on Facebook can be absolute game changers in your life. So, like, first and foremost, we're cut from the same cloth. I want to respect everybody's time for being here and just help you understand that, like, these rooms will shape and change your life. That's how I got my start, was in the mortgage finance business. Failed, went sideways, got into rooms and masterminds like this, started to build myself up, got an opportunity to buy a company in Southern California. Raised a little bit of money from my finance guys in the mortgage business, took a shot, came to Southern California, did very little due diligence, 10 weeks of due diligence, and I got spanked in that deal. So I had lost a couple $100,000 of investor money. Now I'm 2,500 miles away. I'm completely out of the mortgage business. Now I'm trying to figure this thing out. But one thing I realized was, like, I was getting into a business that had employees, it had customers, and I'm talking like big customers. Like, I live in Carlsbad. They had La Costa Resort. They had Legoland. They had SeaWorld. They had Qualcomm. All these big names, right? Yeah. I'm like, these guys are onto something. They're onto something for sure. They already had all this stuff figured out. All I got to do is come in and make this thing better and more attractive. So I knew I wanted to stay in the space. So I stayed in the recycling space. And I was like, I know how to get customers. What are we doing here? This thing is going sideways. I got investor money in the deal. Some things had materialized for the business that weren't very good. But how do I sell my way out of it? So I know call centers. I know, the mortgage origination business. I know how to get customers. Beat the streets, put together a little call center, built that company up, 1,100 corporate customers in 36 months. Panasonic, Google, Yahoo, Lockheed Martin, LG, anybody that was anybody in Southern California, I collected as a customer, built that company up, and I sold it. 2014, that was my first experience selling a company. And like any young guy, I thought, I want to go to a place where there's cheaper taxes. I get bigger houses. I get better bang for buck. Maybe it's a little bit more in tune with my personality. California is great. It's been awesome for me, but I need to head to Texas. So I went to Texas, did the exact same business model. I did oil and gas. I did the healthcare sector. I did the banking sector. In 16 months, I sold that company. And I was like, wait a minute. I got a little process here. I understand sales, operations, and finance. I can do this anywhere. Chopper dropped me off on the moon, and I can do this business model, and I'll get customers and build something up in 90 days. And after about 6 years of being in the space, my second exit, I said, you know what? How do I take all my competitors and turn them into suppliers? And so I started to focus on one category within the electronics recycling space, and that was office phones and telecom equipment. And in 2020, I took all my competitors and turned them into suppliers. It put me on Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies in the country list, number 1465. I was able to take all of my competitors, and rather than compete for 10% market share in these markets, I was able to take all these customers and competitors and turn them into suppliers. And all of a sudden, I had immense value for everybody. And so that was my run, a 10-year run in the IT asset management business. I started then taking big gobs of money that we were making and turning around, putting it in a single-family real estate. So for all of my real estate guys, and we got a lot of them, right? Multifamily, single-family, wholesale, fix and flip, Airbnb arbitrage guys. Look, I've done it all. I was dropping 10,000 postcards a week in 2012, right? And so just peppering the market and buying distressed assets. We were buying tapes from banks. We now have 165 single-family doors in South Carolina. We have a very specific and strategic strategy where we buy C-class value add around a manufacturing facility in South Carolina. And so we progressed from building to building passive assets and trying to buy real estate, a little bit more of a passive management asset, to looking at businesses. Because the big key differentiator for us was, okay, if I buy in a C-class value add area, $30,000 to $50,000 rental property, that rents out for $700 to $900 a month, what's my rate of return? It's a good rate of return. It's a fair rate of return. Most real estate investors use the 1% rule. Mm-hmm. We're a little bit more aggressive. But when I buy a business, it's the same process. I'm still marketing for an asset, a distressed asset, and it already has customers. It already has employees. It already has people. It already has processes. It already has everything figured out. But the returns are 20 to 30% profit margins on an annual basis. So I thought, wait a minute here. We're busting our heads here going from startups to building and becoming an operator, right? So you go through the cash flow quadrant of like me doing everything myself, to me having a hustle, to me being a business operator, to me being an investor. How do I get to the investor level? That's where I need to be, because then I get the great returns and I get the passive assets, right? Yeah. And so we just moved along this process and started to find out that the same processes that we were using in real estate to buy these assets, we could use in businesses and identify those exact same things. But now when we buy real estate, we're limited based on the comps in the market. We can only raise the rental prices so much before we're not competitive. I can only pay a $900 rental and move it up to $1,100 before people go, yeah, no, there's a house down the street for $1,050. Thanks, but no thanks, right? There's only so many things I can do on the other side to cut costs to make more margin as a property manager. Now, you still have toilets, tenants, termites, vacancies, all these other headaches that go with property, right? And so all we did was we applied our exact same methodologies and practices over to the business asset class and started to work on sales, operations, and finance and blowing these businesses up. So now we're very specific with what we're looking for. I am now at 18 companies under management. We're currently buying a company a month right now for our portfolio. But more importantly, the students that have come through the process have bought $38 to $40 million worth of deals in the last 12 months. It's just been a phenomenal progression. And we were kind of riffing right before we jumped on the live, just saying like, I didn't expect to be here. I'm not a coach. I'm not a speaker. I'm not a teacher. I'm just a guy that's buying, just like you and I, right? Kevin, we've talked a lot offline. Just normal guys buying boring businesses that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Turning around and showing the market how to do the same thing.
You know, Kyle, we hit it off so much. And the funniest post you had for me, because it hit home, was when you talked about going in to buy all that. You were going to pick up all those old computers and whatever. And she was looking at you like you were a degenerate. Yeah. And she's making like 27,000. That's how for my whole life, I'd walk into these complexes for gutter cleaning. I was making a lot of money, and they would look at me like I was a piece of shit. Yeah. And I just thought, like, it's so funny. They just, their perception, they have no idea how much money is over here. Yeah. They just look at it. Absolutely. It's so much opportunity. I love the analogy of real estate. It's the best way to do it. I always tell people, while everybody's fighting over 4 and 5% cap rates that nobody wants, it's like there's businesses over here for 30% cap rates, 40% cap rates. And yeah, that rent thing, it's your rent's going to go from 800 to 875. That's what you're hoping. You get approval and they say yes. For here, it can go from 800 to 4,000. Yeah, like this.
The results are truncated in real estate, and make no mistake, we have a lot of real estate. We did 10 commercial buildings, 165 doors. We have a lot of it. We have a property management company. We have an HVAC company. We have a bunch of services within the real estate space that service our portfolio. So I love it. It's great. All I'm trying to do is make more money on the same transaction, right? But at the same time, I get the same tax advantages or better when I buy asset-heavy businesses. My results, I could be one incredible salesperson away from taking a $2 million business to $3 million. I could be one distribution contract in a brick and mortar deal away from doubling up a business. I could be one territory expansion to doubling my net worth like that in a year. And you just don't get those economies of scale. Yes, it's a little bit more hands-on. Yes, there's more things. But the way that we do it is we have a quarterback within the business, right? We have an operator. And then we have sales, operations, and finance. And these are the 3 key components in any business, okay, to grow the business. And those are usually 3 separate individuals. In the beginning stages of a business, 0 to 300, that's like a lifestyle business. You know, the pool cleaning, the landscaping, the quickie business, the laundromat, things like that. It's a $300,000 business that pays $100,000 a year in income. That's a JOB, right? There's 2 people that run the business. It's not really a scalable thing. That's an entry-level deal. That's an opportunity switch. That's an income replacement. That's a guy or gal that's coming from W-2 that's sick and tired of calling their boss a boss. And, recession is coming and I could be chopped at any time here and I still got to take care of my family. So I need something that's easy and easy to move over to that I can make 6 figures, right? That's step 1. That's why franchises are so popular. It's just it's a systematic process where a person can come in and make a high profit margin job and can probably wear flip-flops to work and nobody's going to tell them anything different. 300 to $1 million bucks. Now we have an assistant, we have a sales director, we have somebody to help us out so that we're not stuck in the day-to-day of the business. If the business is doing $1 million bucks and there's $300,000 in profit, you're taking some of that profit and buying back your time as a business owner and delegating those responsibilities to somebody else, right? And so that's a little bit, those are the 2 early stages of a business. 1 to 3 million, which is really what I look for. 1 to 3 million is they have the sales, they have the operations, they know who their customer is, they know what their profit margin is, they know their identity. In the beginning, in every business, you're like, I'll help every little old lady because I can, and I need the revenue, and I'll help. And at some point, you're like, you know what? I'm too big. I can't waste my time on this. As much as I'd like to help this customer, it comes at an opportunity cost of helping somebody else, right? And so these are businesses that are just like overwhelmed because they lack structure and systems and processes and understanding what their KPIs are and how to really grow it. And then 3 to 10 million is really you're getting focused on efficiencies, building the leadership team, the who to do the what has been solved from the 1 to 3 million, but now you're really developing those leaders and grooming those leaders to replace you. You're back to working 20, 30 hours a week in that business. little bit more passive, and you have somebody for everything. And so I really look for 1 to 3 million, because $3 million business, 30% profit margin, that's $1 million, right? That's $1 million in free cash flow. When I pay the debt on that $3 million, it's about $10,000, $11,000 per $1 million. Okay, so I got 30,000 in cost, I got 80,000 in revenue or net profit. I got $50,000 in the middle, and I don't need to go learn that new business. I don't care what they sell, Fisher chips or microchips. I can sell more of it because I know how to grow businesses. I know how to find customers. So that's my sweet spot. When you get above that $3 to $10 million and you find $2 million in free cash flow, that's when more of the sophisticated investors come down, the private equity guys, the hedge funds, the family offices. That's when they get involved. So between the above 1 million, because we don't want to buy ourselves a job, and below, $2 million in free cash flow or profits in a business is really no man's land. It's free territory for guys like you and I, guys and gals, to really participate in the business, because it's too big for the small guy and it's too small for the big guy. And if you have a lick of sense for sales, operations, and finance, you can apply your skill set to any business, right? You guys are in very unique businesses, but do you believe the way that you get customers, the way that you manage the customers, the way that you fulfill the product, the way that you do the customer service is all 100% applicable to any other service business?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's plug and play. I don't care what the asset is, if it's pest control, if it's corporate cleaning, if it's window cleaning, if it's gutter repair, if it's roofing, if it's solar. It's all the same game, right? We get customers.
It's the same thing. People will say to me, "Why gutter cleaning?" Why? I said, "I don't care about gutters. It's the marketing. It's the systems. It doesn't matter what I'm doing." Yeah, people think it's the same thing over and over. You can plug and play that into any business.
Yep, 100%. So that's all we did. We use that exact same process and thesis across all of these things. And as you grow and develop, and as you learn new tricks and different things, you come back and try them in other businesses, and you go, "Oh, wait, this worked over here. Let me try it over here. How do I get to the top 3 of Google Maps with this company over here? Great. Now that's a great lead source for this company over here as well. How do I run those Facebook ads in the targeted area?" And you learn a new trick over here. Boom, we come back and do it over here. And so once you start to compartmentalize these things, you go sales, operations, and finance, the thing runs itself.
Yeah. So Kyle, you have the event coming up on August 5th or 7th. Chris and I are both going to be there, excited to be there. I went to the Vegas event. Talk about some of your students. You could talk about, there's so many of them now that are doing well. I love Wesley's story. I love Alexi's story, because I just was doing calls with him, and he's a great guy. I love to see him win. But whoever you want to talk about, talk about some of the guys who are getting one deal that, in Wesley's case, he's already killing in other stuff. But like that one deal could completely change someone's life. Completely.
Our thesis, and like I said before the broadcast, I didn't expect to be in this coaching and, showing people how to do this. I'm just a guy just like you, doing deals and turning around and going, "Hey, Kevin, try this." And whether you take my advice or not, it doesn't matter. That one trick could revolutionize your business, right? Yeah. And I'm only speaking from experience. I'm not Harvard educated. I'm not one of these Wharton finance guys. I'm literally somebody that's a couple steps ahead. That's a couple businesses ahead, that is turning around and telling the market what to do. And so by utilizing the scripts and utilizing the verbiage and utilizing my approach, these guys are getting crazy deals. People are coming into the family. Now we've had over 200 people come through our investment thesis, because I teach a very specific thing. There's a lot of ways to do M&A. There's a lot of ways to do mergers and acquisition. There's debt consolidation. There's turnarounds. There's buybacks. There's all these things. I don't care about any of that stuff. I only care about what works for me and what has worked for me over the last decade, right? Because I can't teach you a theory. I only teach you what I know works for me. Otherwise, I'm not going to even bother, right? And so if you use the exact same pattern I use, it'll make sense, because I start with the end in mind. I start with, who am I going to sell this deal to? Everything is a commodity. Everything is building it to sell it. Everything is building it to professionalize it and sell it at a later date for a greater multiple. We just got through COVID, right? And so let's hope that we're through all of it for right now. It has been the absolute greatest time to buy or sell a business, because these great businesses got hurt during COVID. I'll give you a great example. $5 million company that was making $2 million in net profits. that was just doing fine, operated all the way through COVID, did not let go of anybody, did not fire anybody, was upgraded to emergency services. But it did get supply chain hit. There was less volume. Obviously, people were out of their offices for a year, and so there was no activity going on in the B2B corporate level from that standpoint for this particular business. The business, instead of making $2 million in 2019 and 2020, it made $1.2 million. The offers that were coming in for that business were 5 times earnings. Let's just say that the number was $1 million in net profit. Okay, times 5, that company would sell for $5 million. In pre-COVID, when it had $2 million in profits, it was getting offers for between 5 and 6x. It was a $10 to $12 million company on sale for $5 million. Now we push through, we get through, all of the stuff. Now we're into Q2 of 2022. Numbers are greater than they've ever been, making more profits than they ever have, better than 2019. That company's valuation is back to $12, $13 million. That is actually one of my companies that we're taking to the market. I mean, you had this great opportunity to attack something, and all we're doing is arbitraging the multiple based on the last 12 months worth of earnings. So you had great companies that went on sale for a short amount of time and now are back to business, and we got a recession coming and some other things. But this is just one case in point. But students are coming in, taking that exact same thesis in the framework and understanding who we're going to sell it to, and then reverse engineering what they're going to go find. So guys like let's take you guys, for example. You have a very specific niche that you're in right now. What other things are of interest to you because of the niche that you're in? That's a real question, Kevin.
Yeah.
Like what are you interested in?
I like roofs and lawn businesses because I can plug them in and plug them into that customer base.
Chris? And
it's an easy transition for the customer.
100%.
Yeah, construction.
Yeah. All of these things are something that you know something about. You already have customers in. You're already marketing. You already have 5 people that you call right now that if you bought a pest control company or a roofing company or a construction company, you could say, hey, listen, I'm making this acquisition. This is the story of the business. Here's where I'm at. I'm looking to see if I could beef up some numbers and get some more business. I'd love to make you a great offer. I know, can you tell me what you guys are paying right now? Is there an opportunity we could work together on something like this? And you could automatically have customers. So the first thing we do is we look at what's your core competency, right? What's the one thing that you're really, really good at right now? And you'll be surprised because you don't need a lot of money to do this. Now, let me pre-frame that. I am not a no money down shtick guy. That's not my thing. You can't come in here and make $12 trillion with 47 cents down. It doesn't work like that. I spent $75,000 on a deal that I didn't do this year. And just in due diligence because I got a bad feeling about the deal. Be prepared to spend some money, but it doesn't need to be super expensive. So one of the things that you can do is what's your core competency? And this is great information for anybody that's tuning in right now because this is actually one of my strategies. What's your core competency that you have right now that you could go to anybody in the space and say, look, you're, Mr. Seller, you're on the back 9 of your career, there's 60, 70-year-old, you're on the back 9 of your career and you're thinking about selling at some point. I respect that. You've been making gobs of money for the last 20 years. At some point, have you thought about what your succession plan is going to be? And you'll be surprised because 80% of business owners never think about what their exit plan is going to be, who they're going to sell it to, why would they sell it? They're going to rock it till the wheels fall off or their kids want it. But the reality is a lot of people don't have a successor. They don't have kids that want it. A ball bearings manufacturing company in Cleveland, Ohio, guess what? That kid doesn't care about that business because it's way cooler now to have a blue check behind your name and 1 million followers than $1 million in the bank.
Absolutely.
Nobody cares about that, right? No. So all of a sudden, everybody thinks that this asset is something very lucrative and it's a great business. Why would somebody sell it? It's worth it. They make $1 million a year. But through the lens of everybody else in the market, Wall Street doesn't care about that deal. Private equity doesn't care about that deal. The kids don't care about that deal. Who wants to go live in this town outside of Cleveland with 14,000 employees? 14,000 population. Nobody wants to go live there and run that business, right? But that guy has been running that business for 20 years and has been doing government contract work for 40% of his business. and has built this great name and sponsors the local softball community and little league teams and stuff like that. That's his legacy. That's his whole brand in the community. He cares more about that than he does the check. I promise you. And so when people realize that there's nowhere for these businesses to go and that people need to retire and here's a crazy stat. 10,000 baby boomers retire every single day in this country. 10,000 people. That equates to over 300,000 baby boomer businesses that need to be sold every single year. And so when you look at interesting things like biz buy sell and merger bin, and you think, wow, this is where the market goes to sell their business, what they don't tell you is 90% of those businesses never sell.
Yep.
So we don't have, yes, we have inflation problems. Yes, we have a recession coming. Yes, we have all these things happening, right? We have a demographic problem of businesses that are coming onto the market and not enough you and I's to go and have serious conversations about what their plan is going to be. So the conversation becomes, look, you want to retire. You want to go hang out on the beaches of Sarasota with the wife for the next 10 years. Who's going to run this place? You know? And if I have competent experience and I am a young entrepreneur that has a track record or knows something about marketing ball bearings to government organizations or knows something about something, guess what? It's no longer about the money exchange. It's about the value exchange of who can continue this person's legacy in their local community. And so that's the biggest missing piece here is the mindset of potential entrepreneurs that want to get into this business. Because people think, I don't have $2 million. I don't qualify for this. I'm not qualified. I don't know anything about a ball bearings business. I'm not qualified to do this. I promise you, if you have a core skill set and you can become a bridge for somebody's pain point and help somebody get to where they're going quicker, you can do this. And it's literally having a conversation like, hey, Chris, hey, Kevin, I know you want to retire. And listen, man, I know you want to get down to Florida ASAP, right? You have tons of money and not a lot of time. I got not a lot of money and lots of time. How can I help you get to where you're going quicker? All of a sudden, that becomes a very casual conversation of what's your plan? What's your plan to get out of here?
Yeah. It's absolutely true. You know what really hit home as a lot of my friends are parents are in their 70s and 80s now, and I watched them have businesses that supported their entire family that are completely gone now. They just go away.
Yeah.
Those people all would have been people that I could have went to and said, hey, I'd like to buy your business and keep this legacy going. And they could have got a stream of income or they could have got a nice big check. And maybe they had enough money. But the truth is most of those businesses just go to die. And they wait till they're like 69. They're already want to be out of it. And then they try to put it on biz buy. It's too late.
And imagine going to the market with a house, for example, that you knew 90% of the time it wasn't going to sell. And every time you had somebody in your house, you know, they kicked in the corners and they called your customers and they talked to your employees and they did this and they did that. About 5 or 6 times, you're going to be like, how qualified is this person to come and write me a check? Otherwise, I'm not doing this meeting again. And so what happens is these sellers get seller fatigue and they go, you know what? Selling my business was a great idea in the moment because I was having this moment of crisis. You know, think about all the reasons that people would want to sell. You know, anybody ever had a health scare? Maybe high blood pressure, heart murmur, something happened in a car accident, something happened in your life where all of a sudden, boom, my priorities shift like this. And I'm like, I got to think about my kids. I got to worry about how I'm going to sell this asset. 80% of my net worth is tied up into my business. What are my plans here? You know, things and life gets really real for these folks. So retirement, death, divorce, health issues, relocation, maybe they got some debts and something like these are just real life problems that people are experiencing. And they're folks just like you and I going through real problems. I mean, let me ask you guys, have you ever just been in your business making gobs of money and been like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes.
I hate this business. I am so sick and tired of this.
For years, like 2 days a week, I'm like, I'm done with that shit.
Right? So we're all entrepreneurs. We're all afflicted by the same things. When you're talking to these business owners, you're talking to yourself, my man. You know, like the game is, have you just had enough of these employees? I mean, this labor market is incredible. I went from paying $18 an hour to $28 an hour. I can't keep good help. I'm really struggling here. My marketing used to be X client acquisition costs. Now it's Y. The girl at the front desk left me after 4 or 5 years. Now I got to go find me a new assistant. Business and life happens, and these things happen. And so when you're positioning to help these people, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not coming in there like a Wall Street banker, like, let me write you a big, huge check for your business. Of course, that's what they see when I show up and say, would you ever think of selling your business? That's what they think. But really, I sit down with them at their kitchen table and talk to them in front of their kids and go, what's your goals, man? I mean, where are you trying to get to, and how do I help you get there quicker? Because right now, you don't have a business that's sellable. I hate to be the bearer of bad news and be an ice cold shower, but you don't have anything that's sellable here. You are the business. You have not put your thoughts and processes down on paper. You do not have all the correct people in the business. I'm not trying to shame you. All I'm trying to do here is help you get the right people, because a business buyer wants to mitigate risk, and they're buying the system and the people and the process that you have built up here. If you are the process, what happens if you walk out the door and get hit by a bus tomorrow? That business goes to zero. So help me help you put together a plan to get you out of the business over the next 3 years. That's it. How do I take your $1 million business, get all your beautiful ideas down on paper, put all your superstars at the front line, get you the help and the support that you need, and get your $1 million business to $3 million. Now, if I could do that for you, if I can help you retire in the next 24 to 36 months, I can take your business from 1 million to 3 million. I can help you document all your SOPs and help your people shine. I want 40% of the company. Now, I'm not asking you for anything. I'm going to get on the same side of the table with you. I only make money when you make money. Okay. But I'm going to bring all of my people in. I'm going to bring all of my marketing in. You don't have Facebook ads. You haven't updated your website since 1992. We don't know what a customer costs. Our sales guys have been doing the same thing for the last 10 years, making 150 grand a year. Okay. I'm going to help bring in some metrics and help make this thing beautiful. I don't want to take away from anything that you've done. I only want to make it more beautiful. If I could get you to $3 million from 1 million in the next 24 to 36 months, would you be open to an equity deal? Cost $0 to do that. And all I'm doing is leveraging my own skills.
Chris is over thinking about
I'm sold.
It's so good.
I had a kid come to me. Dude, I had a kid come to me last year. I call him a kid. He's a young man. He's a good guy. Kyle Robbins out of Texas. Mm-hmm. This kid did marketing for float tank therapy. So these little brick and mortar businesses where they have these meditation float tanks where you go and you lay in salt water. Okay. He's one of the foremost experts in marketing new client acquisition for that type of a business. And so he said, I've been doing this for 3-4 years, Kyle. I have 70% market share, and I run Facebook ads for all of these guys. I'm just looking for something different. I don't have a lot of money, but I believe in your system and I believe in your process. I said, okay, man, listen, you have Facebook ads experience. You're very tunnel vision with this one thing. Have you ever helped anybody else build a sales funnel and ran Facebook ads for them that was wildly successful? He's like, yeah, you know what? I got this one guy, property management company, doing about $1 million. He said everybody ripped him off in the Facebook ad spend. And as business owners, we all know what that feels like, right? SEO, PPC, Facebook ads. Everybody promises the world, and you get, 3 customers that cost you $1,000 each. And so he felt like he had been ripped off, and Kyle had built him a very successful one that got him over $1 million. He went back to the guy and said, look, here's the thing. I want to do this for you. You got great results. You're doing awesome, but here's the thing. If you gave me the appropriate budget, I could get you to $3 million. The guy said, well, what's the appropriate budget? Well, I need about $15,000 in ad spend to get you to where you're going to get to $3 million. How about this? You pay the ad spend. I will not charge a retainer. I'll do what I do. I'll manage the ads. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll bring in appointment setters, and I'll bring in closers to help you scale. In the first 6 months, he ended up they were negotiating a 30% equity split. He called me and he said, look, Kyle, he's agreed to the 30%, but I don't know. I don't know that I want that liability in the business. I said, okay, just tell them it's a performance contract, but you want 30% of the profits. Okay. You don't want equity in the business. That's okay. Just take a percentage of the profits. So he changed it to a performance contract. First 6 months, he made $240,000 with the guy just blowing up his ads. And then he said, Kyle, I'm spending like 30 hours a week in this business doing the calls for the guy. What do I do? I'm like, dude, I got a guy. Don't worry. We gave him an appointment setter, got him a closer. Now he's working 6 hours a week in that business and still making that 240, giving up just a little bit of margin. He said, so now I'm doing so well with this. Everything's awesome. Now what do I do? And I'm like, what do you mean? Go find other businesses that look just like him. And he's like, I can do this against more than one. I'm like, why don't you call every single one of them and say, this is what I did for this guy? You know, like, how do we leverage up and do the exact same thing?
It's like, you want me to do it for you, or you want me to do it for the guy down the street? It's like,
that's it.
They
this
they
is
don't
what I
want
did
you
for
to
this
do
guy.
it.
My results are 100% tangible. Either you're in or you're out. I don't really care. Like, I got all these other guys. So, you know, there's no limit to that. And think about that, because another guy, Dave Bateman, same thing. Dave is on my team. Dave works for me as an appointment setter. I just told a story about this on my page a year ago. He came to me, hat in hand, just got the daylights beat out of him in a business, and said, look, man, I'll bring you coffee. I'll answer all your calls, messages, everything. I'll do anything you want me to do. Just show me how to do this business. Okay, no problem. You follow my process. There's no possible way you could fail. Comes in, gets a remodeling company. He's running Facebook ads for this remodeling company. He took 30% equity in the deal. His first check was for $15,000 the first month working for him. He's 3 months in now. He's making over $300,000 a year. This kid was getting coffee for me 12 months ago, right? Like, it's just, it's all you're doing is doing what you do and applying it to other businesses.
So huge thing. So on the event, I wanted to talk about something. So, like, you did a good post about what are everyone looking, or who's looking for capital, who's looking for operators, who's looking for deals. That's the big thing of going to these events. You meet guys. There was a guy like Alexi. He was looking to kind of be an operator for someone. So he met somebody at your last event who, I don't know their exact deal, but he basically put the money up. So I would be somebody like that. I find deals, I have the money to buy them, but I need somebody to be an operator. So if somebody's at your event and they might say, hey, I don't really have hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy this, they can plug in and be the operator, be that guy who says, hey, I want to learn this business, build it with Kevin. That's how you can get equity in deals and not come with hundreds of thousands of dollars. But you got to be at these events to meet people. You're not gonna meet them by sending them a message on Facebook like, hey, can I pick your brain? Yeah.
Nobody responds to that. You send me something like that, I'm gonna block you. That's just the reality of how this is, right? Proximity is power. And I've culminated all these contacts to get in the same room. Every event, we bring a billionaire. We got Snap Fitness, Peter Taunton, he's 6,000 franchise locations. We got Dana. You guys know Dana Cornell, $1.3 billion under management. Dana's a partner of ours. We're bringing in trust people. We're bringing in all of these people. It's not just talking heads. It's not a pitch fest. It's literally 2 days of actual curriculum of like step by step by step. Who, what, when, where, why. Why am I qualified to do this deal? Once I find the deal, what questions do I ask? How do I do the due diligence to make sure that I'm not buying a falling knife, so they say, right? A business that's headed to zero. How do I quantify risk? Now, once I found it, once I like it, once it fits my investment thesis, how am I going to pay for it? Am I going to do an equity deal? Am I going to do a joint venture? Am I going to bring an outside investor? Am I going to raise capital? Am I going to get SBA financing? I teach over 75 different ways to pay for the deal, right? At a minimum. Then once we go through all that, how we found it, what we're looking for, investment thesis, does it fit my box? How am I going to pay for it? Then I go, now what are we going to do to build the enterprise value and sell it? Because my goal is to buy stuff, and this is, again, just my process. My goal is to buy stuff that I can sell later. I'm looking for 2X, 3X, 5X, 8X. I'm not looking to buy, like you love landscape. I love landscape as well, but I can't get the lift that I want on a business like that. It's a route-based business. You can add more sales and marketing to it. It's very complementary. It's operator intense. I'm looking for more things that I can like really get some gusto with. Like I can get that private equity is going to want. Like if you get something like that, you could build it big enough and sell it to somebody like Brightview, a nationwide company, right? But you have fewer and fewer players versus getting something that's really unique that you can get 5 or 6 or 8x. We bought a postal company, for example, PO box company, mailbox company. I recognized about 12 different ways to add value into this company. We had a student come in, was working a W-2 job for a logistics provider managing 700 semis and their fuel consumption. He came in, he was like, look, I don't have a lot of money, but I believe in this investment thesis. I am all in. I'm going to live, eat, sleep, breathe deals. You just guide me through this process, Kyle. And he went all in. We ended up relocating him to Vegas, giving him a huge sign-on bonus, relocation package, lucrative employment contract, and gave him equity in the deal. We bought the deal for $1.3 million. I'm confident I'll sell this business for $5 or $6 million in 36 months. Like he's going to make $300,000-$400,000 on this deal, and came in with no experience, no money, like young guy, just ready to work, ready to go to work. And so back to this room.
Yeah.
Back to this room, whether you're an operator that's looking for the opportunity, like Alexi, I had a great conversation with Alexi. He said, Kyle, I'm trying to take care of my son. I'm flipping some houses. I'm doing some stuff. Things are great. I really want to do this, but I don't have all the capital. He met somebody in the group. They ended up buying, I think it was a garage door repair company, right? Garage door repair company, $1.5 million deal.
In Orlando. Yep.
$1.5 million deal, $500,000 in free cash flow, $550, something like that.
Life changer.
That's a game changer for these guys.
I know. He in particular, I had the same calls with him. I thought he was a super bright guy. He had put the effort in and went out there. He knew his stuff. I got off the phone with him. I remember saying, I'm going to do a deal with this guy. I like this kid. And then he got one with someone else, but he's a single dad. And man, I wanted him to win. When I saw that post come through, I was so happy. I texted him. I was like, like guys in this group, we want each other to win. Hey, I want to answer one question. Jordan's asking some questions about, he's saying, he's comparing it to real estate. Like, oh, he's looking at all these real estate deals and they're hard to get. There's so many people. The answer is, for every 100 guys looking at some real estate deal and everybody bidding up, there might be 1 or 2 serious buyers looking at a business. So it's completely different.
Yep. I actually just had a conversation super early in the morning with a big developer in Wisconsin that develops like lake homes. And we were talking about the softness in the market. I'm kind of tapped in to see what's happening in real estate, right? We know that the hedge funds are canceling deals. We know that the first-time home buyers are going away because the interest rates are clicking up from 3.5 to 6.5 over a 6-month window. We know that things are softening up, that prices, initial ask prices are getting shaved, in 60% of the markets that were super hot a year ago. And so he's like, look, man, I'm going to have a lot of money coming down the pipe from this 1031 exchange. I said, yeah, I'm talking to more and more real estate guys that just love coming over to businesses. And he's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer because we're all trying to park money and we got 1031. We have money that we have to redistribute and we have a hard deadline. And the bottom line is you got the returns. So, 20 to 30% returns, like we can't get that anywhere. I'm like, I understand. Like you have a real problem. So now it becomes, what do you want to buy? What are you interested in? Right. So a lot of real estate guys are making that move over to it. Way less competition, and there's different elements to it, right? It's not like I can go 92121 zip code 32 1,500 square foot 1990 or newer, and this is my comp. It doesn't work like that. I might have one of 10 companies that do what I do in the country, and sky's the limit. I could be worth $3 million today. It could be worth $20 million in 3 years, right? There's so much room to grow that's where the difference is.
What kind of experience if any, and you've already kind of answered this a little bit, do you need to be able to come to your course? I mean, is there a prerequisite that's really needed to be successful to come to your course and learn your content?
100% of the people that come in have zero knowledge or background in business. Yeah, they may be running businesses. They may be invested in real estate. They may be doing business in different ways. Like I really serve 2 different camps. people that are coming from corporate America that are like, I'm just trying to replace my income, that, I don't want to work, recession's coming and I may get chopped at any time and that makes me nervous. So I need to control my own outcome. And then the other camp is, hey, I'm invested in a bunch of stuff. I got a business. I got some money. I want to put it to work. I just don't know what to look for or how to protect my risk. Because I know how to go out and buy 40 doors in Indiana, and get a C-class value-add apartment complex and put a couple $1,000,000 up or 30% of it and lever up with the rest of the debt. I know how to do that, but my results are kind of, topped out. And there's just not a lot of deal availability right now. There's some uncertainty in the market. Rents are going great, but what do we do? So it's really two camps, but everybody comes in the same. They don't know anything about going through this process. Very, very few people have come through that have actually bought a deal prior to meeting me. And now once you go through the process, you get your chops up, you get your experience in, it just becomes second nature. Like I said, a lot of guys come in, they buy one deal, they get their confidence up. Most people, if I've had 25 people buy a deal, all of those people are working on their second deal, right? Because it just becomes the prerequisite to the next deal.
Always.
So
Kyle, go ahead, Chris.
What's that lifetime of when someone's acquiring a deal and then they're scaling it and they're able to sell it? What are you seeing that timeline look like?
Well, everybody's got different goals financially, right? If you're coming from income replacement, you might get into a deal that makes you $200,000 a year and all of a sudden go, I don't want to sell this thing. This is my income. And so that is very different than what mine is. I'm not taking money out of the companies. I'm reinvesting it back in with an intention to sell it at a later date. Everything that we do, we build with the intention of a 24 to 36 month outlook. That is to create a sense of urgency. That is to take the first year and reinvest all the profits into systems and branding and websites and all these other things to make the company more beautiful. So everybody's goals are going to be a little bit different. But I mean, that postal company, for example, I had offers for $500,000 higher than when I bought it while it was still under contract. So wow. I had another student that bought an NEMT company that, it was a $1 million deal. He got it for $300,000. He put $200,000 in investor capital from his real estate business, and he seller financed the balance of I think it was 125 or 150 with the vehicles. So he had no money out of pocket, but that company was already making $30,000 a month in net profits, $360 a year. So he paid one time's earnings for it. He could have flipped it for $1 million and made $600,000 in the spread day one. So everybody's got a little bit different goal, just like when you're flipping houses. Do I want to flip this? Do I want to cash flow it? Do I want to Airbnb it? Do I want to sell this to a hedge fund? Like, what's my goals? Or do I just want to portfolio it and keep the cash flow coming forever? That's.
Yeah, you got a lot of options. So Kyle, I mean, the event is loaded with all the curriculum, all the things you're going to be teaching, but what else is going on at the event? And I'll put the link in here, but you can also go over to Kyle's Facebook page. And you can find about the event, but it's August 5th to August 7th. But what else is going on at the event? Is there any things around the actual teaching?
Oh, I love this. So I didn't expect to be here. So I really wanted to create an experience that was like a top shelf experience for everybody involved. It was from the people that we invite to, no selling, to the event space that we select. Like, all of this is super top shelf. But one of the things that I think that we do really, really different is, rather than me sitting up there and talking, a talking head at the top of the stage telling you what to do, which can get very overwhelming for somebody, like drinking out of a fire hose if you've never been in this space. I really take about a half day to get everybody to commingle. I love to make the connections for people. This person's a Facebook ad specialist. This person's an SEO specialist. This person's a tax accountant. This person's a financial planning. This person's a capital raiser. This person's a deal sourcer. This person's an operator. I really focus hard on showing people that I'm a real person with real families just like yours. I'm not some guy teaching theory up here. And the one thing that this event is for people to move the needle in their life. To come here and meet people that can get you the deal, that can finance the deal, that can partner with you. If you can come in here and leave your ego at the door, which, let me just say this, I don't know if you noticed this, Kevin, but I had some people removed from the Las Vegas event. I don't mess around. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this to culminate a safe environment for people to come in and get what you need. It's not fair, for somebody to come in with an ego and say, oh, I know everything about this. You know nothing. I know nothing. I have 18 companies and I know nothing. I am a student of the game, a student of life. And so I really work hard to curate the people to come in, to make this an interactive experience so that you can get what you need, so that when you leave, we're either buying a company, we're deal sourcing a deal, you're adding value to somebody that's buying one, or we're saving a ton of money in our taxes. We're doing something, but we're coming here with an intention, and this room is going to help you get that. So I really focus hard on that. The third day, so I go through the first 2 days of curriculum: who, what, when, where, why, and how, due diligence, financing the deal and the transaction, some stories about that, and then the Wall Street method exit and how I sell it, the deals. Now, I have a list of 39,000 professional investors, high net worth individuals, family offices, hedge funds, investment banks, that when we take a company to market, we don't put it on biz buy sell. That's the amateur process. That's where we're buying from amateur mom and pops. When I go to sell something, I'm taking it to the market, and I have a series of people and a process that I'm creating a demand for it. I'm creating a bid process. It's called a reverse bid process. And so that has been super effective. I never put a price on a deal. We let the market determine what the price is. So it's called the Wall Street method exit. I showed that process. Then we get to hear from all of the students that are participating, because this is not about what I can do for our portfolio or what I can do specifically for Chris or for Kevin. This is about what we can do as a group. And when we learn to, collaborate over compete, and we help people fill in the dots and get what they need, because we're trying to change people's lives here. I mean, you got a guy that comes in that's making 50 grand W-2 and all of a sudden has an opportunity to make $500,000, grew up in South Memphis, with no rich dad, poor dad, his folks have been working, the same W-2 job their whole life. He's been trained and told to do things a certain way for his whole life. Now all of a sudden has an opportunity to get proximity to 7, 8, 9-figure earners and get an opportunity to ride along in a deal. Like, that's going to change that kid's life.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow, man.
I mean, a couple $100,000 to guys like you and I might not be a big deal, but to somebody like that, man, if I was 25 years old and you could get me next to somebody, there's no telling what I would have done for a couple $100,000 when I hit the wall in the finance business, when my car was being repoed, my house was being foreclosed, and I was losing everything I had around me. You know what I would have done for a couple $100,000? I probably want to say that.
Yep. Incredible opportunity. But the guys who have money or want to invest in people, if I see somebody, he spent money, he came to Nashville, he's away from his family, he's in a hotel, he's at this event. How do you think Chris and we all feel about this guy? We know this guy's for real, and he's not here to talk and put selfies on Instagram. He's trying to make deals. So that's why it's like Alexi or anybody. Like, I want to be invested in these guys. I know they're the real deal. So different than somebody who's just talking about it.
And like, if we do a deal together, it doesn't mean that anybody else is precluded from doing deals. Like, we all want to do deals. Talk about Wesley. You know the story better than I do. I was the first one.
I'm thinking of investing in his deal.
Yeah. I was the first one to get pitched on this deal. And I brought it back. And now it's like, okay, so the deal is a semi-truck dealership business. Guy calls me up, says, hey, man, I got this deal. It's off market. My real estate buddy put it together. I'm selling the land. I'm selling this. The seller is selling everything. 30-year semi-truck dealership. I'm like, this is cool, man. But I don't know anything about semi-trucks. And if I don't have an operator to run this, I mean, it's a used car dealership, but for semi-trucks. So really good numbers. They do about 10, 12 million bucks. They make about $2 million in profits a year. And the guy's selling the business with the land for $2 million bucks. Okay. It's a one-time earnings deal. But for me, I don't have an operator for that. I don't know anybody in that space. I'm not going to move to Florida and go run this business. Right. So the natural thing becomes, who do I know? And this is just like anything, right? Life becomes a game of like, what's that game we used to play as kids? Memory. Like, I got a guy somewhere that does something like this.
Yeah.
Where's that card? Oh yeah. Match these two things.
Memory.
Up.
Yeah.
And so it becomes that game when we're looking at businesses. Who do I know that knows something about pest control? Who do I know that knows something about toxicology labs? Who do I know that knows something about landscaping? And we're just connecting these guys. That's all we're doing. And so the guy comes in, First off, Wesley's a superstar. The guy was manufacturing go-kart frames in a manufacturing environment. Got his first deal in the first 90 days, which was a fluid pumps company. Talked the guy down from $1.5 million to $600,000, 100% seller financed, and he's making $450 a year. That's the first 90 days.
Killing it. Yeah.
First 90 days. He came as a W-2 employee working on go-kart chassis and frames, gets his first deal in the first 90 days. Then he gets this other deal, and I start telling the group, the inner circle, about the deal. And he says, dude, my cousin is a semi-dealer guy over in, I think he's Atlanta or Georgia, somewhere in Georgia. And he is excited about this deal. He can vet everything about it. They went down there, did the due diligence, did the whole deal. And the terms of the deal were, I think it was like $400,000 down, $2 million deal over 20 years. Because remember, this guy's a real estate guy. He didn't understand how this deal should be financed, but you could finance these terms at any terms that you like, right? Yep. So he did 20-year seller financing for the remaining balance of the 1.6. So his payment's like $7,500, and the company nets $180,000 a month.
Jeez.
So kid comes in 6 months ago to Vegas, cold, doesn't know me from Adam. 90 days, gets a $450,000 cash flow deal. Here we are in July. You know, when was the event, Kevin? February?
Yeah.
February in Vegas.
First week of February.
Yep, first week of February. Here we are in July, mid-July, and he's putting together a deal that makes $180,000 a month. His all of his cash flow together, 2.25. After he pays the debt service on some of that, say he's making $2 million a year in free cash flow. 2 businesses.
Insane, man.
It's real. I talked when he got it. I messaged him. He told me about it. He knew it inside and out. It's a great deal. And I saw him put that on Facebook, what his deal was. And some wise ass said, who would sell a business for $2 million that's netting 180? And Wesley's answer was, somebody wants to retire.
That's it.
That's it. That's the truth. It's somebody wants to retire.
And this is the limiting belief that stops all of everybody from getting into this is, I don't have the money. Who would sell a good business? I mean, this is how business has been done since the beginning of time, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you have public equities, which is the stock market, which is really just fractions of companies that they're selling, right? If you think about it, they have to hit earnings, they have to hit projections, they're based on free cash flow. The only way that has an enterprise value is the free cash flow in that company. It's got to make profits or it's not worth anything, right? And then we have the private side. And the private side is there's so many layers to it. Again, the professional investors, the Wall Streets, the hedge funds, the private equity guys do not care about anything that is not proprietary, doesn't have a moat around it, doesn't have a technology that they can sell for 20x. They don't care about some landscaping business that makes $1 million in cash flow with 20 employees down the road that services 5 zip codes. They just don't care. And so it's a big barrier for people because they think, who would sell something good? Why would somebody sell me their business? I'm not qualified to do it. I don't have $2 million. All of these things are limiting beliefs. And if you spend 2 days with me, I'm going to show you how to crush through all of those things and create ungodly amounts of conversations. I literally get, and this is no exaggeration, 30 to 50 DMs a week from people that either want to sell me their company, invest with me, show me a deal, pitch me a deal. Like, now that the branding is in position of this is what we do for a living, like, you can't stop this freight train with deal flow. And price is almost never a conversation. Yes, it's important to understand what we're buying it for, but it's not their motivation to sell. They're motivated to sell because, just like a motivated seller of a real estate project, they inherited the house. They're sick. They have to get rid of it. They don't live in that state and they can't manage it. They're sick and tired of tenants and destroying their properties. The same motivation that exists in the real estate business is the same motivation that exists in businesses. And for some reason, these two worlds don't collide for some reason.
And last part, so anybody going to this event, just to help. So Kyle is going to give you a lot of info, and it's going to be a lot of info, but I'm going to be there. Anybody who's in Blue Collar Millionaire, they message me, pull me aside at the event, ask me, say, hey, what did he mean by this? I'll sit down with you at lunch, dinner. I'll sit there for 20 minutes, go over whatever you want to do. I'll go over whatever you want. I love this event. I love the energy from it. I want to talk to people. I want to help people. So he's going to be giving you tons of info, and I'm happy to kind of help you through anything as well. I want to see people win.
Absolutely. And Kevin, maybe you could just add to the fact that, like, how transparent am I throughout this whole, like, I'm showing you real companies, real deals that I'm doing. Like, I mean, now we're starting to get.
We hit it off from the first virtual when I was in your virtual course. Kyle's a real deal. It's like, he just, everything he said in the beginning, this is true. He's going to tell you everything. He's totally accessible at the event. I mean, that's why we were excited to have on. I was excited when Chris was going to the event. I'm like, I tell everybody, I'm like, bro, just go to the event. You're going to, whatever you think it's going to be more.
And then the third day, now we're doing something new. The third day, we're doing kind of like an investor club status. So it's inclusive for everybody. This is the first time that we're doing this. I have an inner circle group where every week I get pitched hundreds of deals. I take the best of the best and I show it to my inner circle group. And I say, okay, who wants to put up money? Who wants to run the deal? Who wants this deal, right? So we do this. Now we're doing it because we have lots of deals with guys like familyoffices.com. They're bringing investors that want to essentially back us in a bunch of deals, even though we don't accept outside money. And so I'm like, well, why don't we just curate the event to the third day? We'll do it like an investor club status. So real deals that I'm working on. I got a tiny homes deal up in Idaho. It's a manufacturing company that makes tiny homes. We just bought a coffee chain in the Midwest with 3 drive-throughs. I'm going to take them to 50 locations in 36 months. I got a laser hair removal company in Vegas, does about $9 million. I got a gold and silver dealer, does $20-30 million in sales, $3 million in profits. I have real deals that I'm going to show people from the perspective of, like, okay, this is how I'm doing my due diligence. These are the unique strategic advantages of how I'm going to grow this company. Here's all of my value adds. And I'm going to get super granular with it, like real deals that we're working on right now. And so if the investor wants to put money up, they could potentially invest in the deal. If an operator wants to move to Idaho and go run the tiny homes deal, they can go run that. If you want to just learn about, wow, I saw what Kyle did with this laser hair removal company in Vegas, I'm going to try this over in Connecticut. I bet you if it works on the West Coast, it'll work on the East Coast. Michael and I do that all the time, right? So it's that same exact curating the group of, like, people that can just add value to each other, whether you're an operator, you're an investor, you're a sales and marketing guy. You'd be surprised how many people come in the group and they're like, oh, I scaled ads for this company and I know a lot about Google My Business and Facebook ads. And all of a sudden they're like, here's what you do here. Here's how you strategize this. I can get this done for X amount. Oh, here's a branding guy that can help you position yourself better online. Like, all of these things come together in one room. That's powerful. That's
super powerful. So valuable.
So
I'm so excited.
I can see Chris is fired up. He's fired up.
It's going to be great. Kyle, thank you so much for coming on. Tons of great content as always. Everybody should be following Kyle. I think probably everybody is, but your content is so good too. Your awesome, Facebook posts. That's what.
If you like that stuff, I would really highly encourage you to think about your copywriting skills. Anybody can go out and learn copywriting skills, but the minute I can tell you a story that you go, you know what? Shit, this guy's real. I too was like that at one time in my life. All of a sudden, now we have this bond. You
had a post about the framing of a story and how to do a post.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not only are you giving the post, you're telling people how to do it. Like, that's just what you're going to do for 3 days straight. You're going to tell them all the different steps. So, and I'm so excited. I'll be out there and we'll definitely be hanging out, dinner, and doing all this stuff.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks so much for that.
Guys, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. You guys have a great day.
All right.
Thanks, Kyle.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
I've got low. Let's see. There we go.